Tough loss tonight. Tough loss. Stadium series. 6-5. Hell of a game. Entertaining as hell. Live Bruins beat. Evan Marinofsky. Carl Corazzini. Carl is back. I think
Yes, I
this
am.
makes up for the loss. How have you been? What's up?
Well, I apologize to everyone out there. I mean, I'm underdressed, and
No,
this is
I'm not
this is probably an
really.
hour past my bedtime. Usually I've fallen asleep horizontally on the couch. Yeah, probably an hour and 15 minutes ago. So the ability for me to stay up this evening just for you, Evan, I'm happy.
It means so much. We
Yeah.
appreciate it, and I know the people watching will definitely appreciate it
No,
because
they'll
they
definitely
ask you
appreciate
all
it.
the time. Um, as everyone knows, we're presented by Prize Picks. Use that promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Yeah, this was a tough one, and it's funny, Carl. We've been doing live streams after games, and they tend to end up being losses. And we announced this, I think, when it was 5-1, and
Oh
then
no.
that just tumbled out of control. Entertaining as hell, as I
Oh,
said. Penalties killed them. Penalties
oh,
completely killed them. And I know that a lot of people are going to have this reaction of the officiating was horrible. And sure, there were some calls in there. Like I was saying to you before we came on here, I thought the Pasternak slash in overtime was, I did not think that's a typical hockey play. I didn't think that was a penalty, but you can't take 11 penalties and expect to win. And that's why they blew that 5-1 lead.
so two things. One, you have the national stage with the Stadium Series, whatever, 7:01 start. Exactly what you want as an NHL product to be put out on the ice, right? Like 6-5, a lot of goals. You have a goalie fight, an entertaining game. Like if you were a casual observer and you tuned in for that game, you're like, what have I been missing? Now, if you're a Boston Bruins fan, yeah, it's really hard to complain about the referees when you've had 200, 220 penalty, like shorthanded opportunities over the course of the year, and 11 in tonight's game. Like certainly the Pasternak one in overtime you want back. And I don't think the thing, and you tell like our kids all the time, if you're on a parade to the penalty box, you kill all momentum that you have. And
Yeah.
so by and large, you're probably using six forwards and maybe four defensemen, and you did that for the second half of that second period, and you just could never get back to your game. And like if that's the way that they're going to go over the course of the year, it's going to be really difficult with the stretch that they have, especially on the road. To like they've got a nice cushion here, but to make the playoffs is going to be difficult if they play like that.
I what gets me is I like this. Logan Cotter says would have won if they had Andrew Dunleavy on the team. St. Mark's, inside St. Mark's stuff. That's what that
That
is.
is.
I this is my thing, Carl. Like you're coming off the Swayman fight, the place is going nuts. Bruins have momentum. You're up 5-1. It is a belt to ass kind of night through the first half, like just reaming, and then you start taking more penalties, taking dumb penalties. I mean, the Kastelik one, I think we've mentioned after the Bjorkstrand goal. Like, dude, what are you doing? And they just continue. And I know Tampa had no penalties called on them tonight. There were certainly ones that could have been called. I no question, no question. But just to take that many, like that's not all the refs. It's not all the refs like that. And what's funny is Carl, like they're a piss and vinegar. That's the whole thing. They're P&V team. They're hard to play against, and you saw that. Kastelik took out Sorelli. They finished every hit. You saw the fight, the Swayman fights. There were so many scrums in that second period. You can do that, and they had momentum. But once you start taking the penalties, man, it negates anything that brings you. And I think you saw that tonight, where it's like they just went over that, and
Yeah.
it killed them. It's why they lost.
And so you'll give them credit. And I think we would agree. I think the viewers would agree. Like they're playing over their head. Like for the skill level that they have, they probably have to play this way in order to be successful. But there is a line that you cross, and I do think it starts with that Catholic penalty. Like there's no need for that. It's a power play goal. He wasn't on top of your goalie. It goes in the net. It's a cross check that starts a scrum that you know you're going to get a penalty for, and rightfully, and then it just snowballs from there. Yeah, it's just such a difficult way to play. Like, you can finish your hits, but you got to stay out of the nonsense, really, at the end of the day.
It's a good point from Chris Nosek. They really missed Elias Lindholm and Pavel Zacha tonight on the PK and the faceoff dot. They were getting killed on draws, and they couldn't win them on PKs, and it was leading to long, extended stretches for Tampa tonight. No question. And it's funny, like, Minton played really well. Patra had the goal. Like, we'll get into that later. It just a lot of that stuff, and we'll get into the Swayman fight. We'll get into how fun and cool that was, but that gets dampened by this. Like, that's what's unfortunate for the Bruins, is that that stuff gets dampened. We'll get into that, but the main story tonight is penalties and blowing this lead. And I agree. I see some people in the comments, and they're right. You got a point. Against a team that's better than you, against a team that's higher than you in the standings. I completely agree. The problem is you blew a 5-1 lead. That's like that to me is the main story tonight.
And I think the thing about that too is, like, yeah, you got a point against one of the hottest teams in the National Hockey League, but you were dominating them for a period and a half. There was no need to cross the line. Like, where the first period was 20-9 in shots, you got it to a 5-1 lead with Geeky's goal. Like, you had established your game plan. Like, you were hard on the forecheck when you went into and then you were forcing turnovers in the neutral zone, holding the red line with whatever trap that was. And then you couldn't get back. You couldn't get back to playing that way in the third period, just because you had spent so much time on the penalty kill. And you had the opportunity, with only one game left before the Olympic break, to feel really good about where you were, not only just as the second team in the wild card, but to feel really good about yourself. Like, you just dominated what could be, outside of the Avalanche, one of the best teams in the National Hockey League, and you gave up on it, right? Like, not that you gave up on it, like, that's the bad phrase, but, like, you abandoned your game plan a little bit, and the penalties hurt you, obviously.
I like this point. GSP Hockey says, I've wondered this for a while. If the Bruins make the playoffs, do you think the whistles go away and they call it, they let more stuff go? Maybe, but this can kill them. Like, again, you're right, Carl. They dominated 5-on-5. Yep. Like, it was not until the parade of penalties that they had that momentum. I mean, they were dominant. And by the way, Vasilevsky was awful. I mean, he was bad tonight. And I think you even saw on Pasternak's OT. That's a first chance. Just shot goes right in. And obviously it's David Pastrnak. I'm not going to act like that, that's some easy shot, easy save. But he was off tonight. You saw that the tips were sneaking by him. The pucks were going through his legs. It's like, that's a point you want to have. And that's a game you want to win. And I know that that's the thing that keeps getting me with this one.
Yeah, and I think, to GSP's point, like, the question being asked, I think traditionally you watch playoff hockey, the whistles that go away are the scrums, right? I think maybe Kastelik's penalty, maybe you even it up and it goes 4-on-4, but the hooks, the holds, the slashes, like that, those plays that negate offensive chances, those are still going to be called. And so, right, like, this is what like, in the first half of that period, I mean, of the game, the Bruins skated, right? Like, they were skating with Tampa. They were dominating on the forecheck. And I don't know if it's, you get tired, you get lazy, and that's when you start to reach. That's when you start to hook and hold. And that's what you saw, especially in overtime, right? Like, just the inability to keep up with Tampa. Maybe it was because they played so hard early in the game. But yeah, I don't think, the scrum penalties will go away, but the hooks, the holds, that stuff's going to stay.
Yeah, I saw there was a comment earlier. I forget who said it, and we're getting a lot of interaction tonight, which is awesome. They said, was the Swayman fight a mistake? I honestly don't think it was. Swayman always wants to do that. I know it's easy to say that he shouldn't. And I know that the game changed after it, but it wasn't the fight that triggered all those penalties. It was the penalties. It was Kastelik. It was McAvoy with the roughing. Like, that's what did it. I have no problem. You're on the national stage. You're against a division rival. He wants to fight. I'm fine with that. I have no problem with that. And even the delay game, I sound like a Swayman apologist. Like, he's not, obviously, no one's trying to put the puck out of play. You do have to be smarter, but you're just trying to knock the puck out of the front there. I thought he had a good night. I know he's going to get some flack for what happened tonight, but I'm not going to say don't go fight that guy. Like, the national stage, you want to do it, punch, things are getting heated. And he was, outside of the power play, he was fine afterwards. So I had no issue with that.
Yeah, no, I think he's a goalie that plays with some emotion, right? Like, you had just come off of the scrum with Hagel out in front of the net, I believe, right? So, yeah, you see, I think Vasilevsky probably in his mind, probably thinking what you're thinking, like, hey, I haven't had a great night here. I've got someone going after a teammate of mine. I'm going to go make an impact on the game, which he did, right? Like, he gets Swayman pretty good with two lefts.
Yeah, I don't think Swayman knew he was a lefty.
I don't think anyone would have known, right? and I think both goalies settled in after the fight. I think they weren't the problem. So yeah, no problem with the fight at all. It's the penalties that transpire after and the inability to control emotion and what was going on in the game for the Bruins.
Yeah, so Lele shines, and people are agreeing with Lele on this. Am I being gaslit right now? Did Bruins take stupid penalties? Yes, but did we all see how many holds, interference, cross checks, and hits to the head not called on Tampa? And don't think that's a problem. Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of non-calls, no question. There were some non-calls, and I thought that there should have been on Tampa. That doesn't negate the fact that you also took a bunch of penalties, and they were calling them on you. And it goes back to what Carl said at the beginning. They are the most penalized team in hockey by a landslide. So refs know this coming in. This is a thing with them. You go in and you specifically look for these things, and that's what happens. You blew a 5-1 lead. It's not like you were neck and neck the whole time, and it was you're trading leads. You blew a 5-1 lead. Like, I agree there should have been power plays for the Bruins, no question. But it doesn't. They've had problems with penalties all year. That's my biggest thing. That's my biggest thing.
Yeah, referees are always going to miss calls, and they are human too, right? Like, at the end of the day, in the sense that they know the Bruins are the most penalized. They listen to the reactions, right? Like, they see McAvoy and Pastrnak getting upset about non-calls. Like, NHL referees are just like NHL players. I heard someone say this to me the other day. Like, NHL players are the best players in the world. They're going to make mistakes. Right? They're just less than American League players, less than college players. It's the same with the referees. But when you have 221 penalties and you take 11 in a game, you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt. And that's just something they're going to have to live with. Maybe the penalty kill's got to get better.
Yeah, and it's hard. I mean, your penalty kill percentage is going to go down the more you're out there. You can't trot out the same 7 guys in a small span. And I mean, Sean Corrali, I haven't looked at the time on ice tonight, but Sean Corrali's numbers must be astronomically high. And Chris Nosek said it earlier, and he's right. Like, no, Lindholm and Zacha hurt them because, good Lord, you could have used those guys not just on the draws, but just killing penalties in general. T. Sisley says, last time a goalie in Boston fought, they choked a 3-1 series lead. LOL. Wait a minute. When was the last Bruins goalie fight? Is
that a reference to Tim Thomas?
No, I think it's a reference to Florida, that Florida series in 23. But am I blanking? I don't remember a goalie fight in that, because the last Bruins goalie fight I that was like a true fight was Thomas and Price back in 2011. Olmark might have got into some like pushing matches or whatever, but I don't remember like a drop the gloves type thing. They even said on the broadcast that prior to like 2 weeks ago, the last fight in the goalie fight in the NHL was Smith and Talbot in like 2020.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't think it was that. Olmark certainly liked to get involved with that. The last box, by the way, for Swayman to check is a goalie goal. That's the other thing that he wants desperately. It's a fight and a goalie goal. So he's got the fight now. When's that goalie goal coming? That's the next big thing. I was hoping that the Bruins had.
Does he play the puck well?
That's fine, but he always tries. You can see it. Like, if he's got a little space and there's a 2-goal lead, he tries. He tries for it. Thank you, T Sissy, for the donation. We much appreciate it. We'll get into the Swayman fight. We will get into anything you guys want to get into. We'll get into the lineup. We will get into what we thought of the game. A lot of ESPN was playing this up after that second period like it was the greatest outdoor game ever. We'll get into that in a sec. But first, our good friends over at Prize Picks. The big game is almost here, and there's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. And since the big game is right around the corner, that also means it's your last chance to get in the football action before next season. Close the season out right with Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Super Bowl a week from today. We will know the result a week from today. Hopefully, for us Pats fans, it's a good day. So make sure to go check out our friends over at Prize Picks. You can find your community over there. The new social feeds feature. You can share Prize Picks with your friends and copy lineups from winners with a single click. Copy lineups you like or use them as inspiration for your own picks. You can even follow Prize Picks partners like us and tailor-fade our picks with just one click. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Good to be right over at Prize Picks. Yeah, we're getting, Steve says the goalie fight changed the entire game for the worst. Honestly, Carl, like when they dropped him and you start to see Swayman skating towards out of frame of camera, it's like, ooh, because he starts throwing the blocker. I think it was at Hagel. And you're like, I wonder if Vasilevsky, it's a 5-1 game. He's pissed. I wonder if he goes, tries to get something going. And to the ref's credit, they let him go. I thought after that happened, I was like, Bruins are going to cruise. Because it's like, this is stuff you see in a blowout. It's unless Swayman loses his head and pucks are going past him left and right, they should win this. And it was the penalties that ultimately did it. But I don't think we knew in the moment that it would change it for the worst. And you're a coach. I mean, goalies aren't fighting in prep, but I mean, I didn't see this changing it for the worst.
And I don't think, and I wonder for Steve, like, I don't think he's saying that the fight itself, like the decision to fight, changed the game, right? Because you look at the reaction of Pastrnak and Geeky, like they're holding each other. They're so excited, right? Like there was going to be so much momentum built out of that. But then, right, like you went to the box 7 straight times. And in that second period, they had 2 5-on-3s. And so what happens as a coach is my roster gets limited. Like it gets smaller and smaller, right? Like I'm a 5-on-3. I'm only going to throw out 6 players. For a penalty kill, you might get to 10. And so in accumulating that 5-1 lead, all 4 lines scored, right?
Yep.
And they were skating, they were forechecking, and then you've got players on that bench that are just sitting there for an extended period of time that aren't in the flow in the game, and so your momentum just stops. And to try to get yourself back up, to get into the mind frame that you've got to like get skating again, like that was really hard because you couldn't get all 4 lines involved in the game there in the second half of that second period. And so then you've gotten the game to 5-4, and you could see even especially in the neutral zone forecheck in the third period, the Bruins got really passive. Like early in the game, they were trying to meet Tampa at the red line. And then you saw it in the third period. And I just remember Husadinov and Arvidsson a couple times, like as that top guy and whatever trap they were doing, they started to sag back below the red line. And like, yeah, the idea is you've got a really creative team in Tampa that your thinking is going to try to make plays through this. You can stop the play at the blue line, but Tampa's like, not like, we've got a tired team here. Let's just just rimmed it. And like that whole third period, you were right. Like Tampa was in on the forecheck. They were going low to high and they were asking you to defend. And it's just really hard. Like eventually it was going to break, and then Kucherov hits the perfect one-timer, right? So yeah, it's just the momentum that you accumulated with the 5-1 lead was really hard to get back when you're just sitting on the bench for, right, I don't know what it was in that second period, but then you probably had some guys that did not play for 35, 40 minutes with the intermission too. And like it was longer intermissions today.
Yeah, I mean, Pastrnak isn't on the ice that entire second half of the second period. Like I don't like you're that again. I go back to what I said earlier. Like you're playing the same bunch of guys. I that's what it is. So you get out of the rhythm, and you're 100% right. They were rolling. McAvoy has those 2 shots from the point that get tipped and sneak in. Pasternak's pass to Geeky, Patra's backhander, Alex Steves' goal out front. I mean, you're getting scoring from everywhere. You're getting contributions from everybody. Victor Arvidsson tips one in, and that's it.
Think of the names that you right. Like Pastrnak doesn't kill, Arvidsson doesn't kill, Patra doesn't kill, Steves doesn't kill. Like all those guys that were playing well in the first period, first half of the game, they didn't play at all in the second half of that second period. So I mean, it did tonight, but if that's your plan long term, it's going to be really hard.
Yeah, no, it is. And like as Keith says, 5-on-5, the Bruins dominated, and they
absolutely.
did. They absolutely did. And they just, but I didn't realize Radish for Tampa was having the season he's having. I didn't know he was that good. He's out there.
Was that his 16th goal and 49th point or whatever it was?
Yeah. Like, what am I like on a different planet? I was not aware of this. And he's got a missile of a shot. Like, I know they've been rolling, but he's 15 goals 16 now, 48 points, over a point per game. I think so he's 29, so he's in his prime. Had 37 points last year, 33 the year before. So yeah, he's just feeling it now.
I think one of the right, like when Hedman get hurt with his elbow, he had an opportunity to step in a role, and he's made the most of it.
This is a good question. Someone asked this earlier. Jim Quinn asks, and you're a coach, Carl, you can break this down. Why didn't they call a timeout after the first 5-on-3 goal? I was thinking this too when they were racking up those penalties there in the second half of the second. Wouldn't you kind of want a timeout to sort of calm things down or hold on to it?
Yeah, I mean, you're probably thinking with the 5-on-3 that Tampa's going to score. This is like in my head, and I want to hold on to that if I need it late in the game. It's not a. Yeah, I mean, maybe when they made it 5-3, maybe that's when you call the timeout, right? Like, hey, we're still up 2. Let's kill this one off, and then get after it. I think it's probably more after the second when they scored to make it 5-3 when I would have thought about calling a timeout just to calm everyone down and get things sorted out. What is it that we're going to see on the power play? What do we need to do to clean up? Nothing high intensity, but they scored right after, right? They scored the second 5-on-3, and then that Paul scored right at the net front. So I probably would have gone after when Tampa made it 5-3.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think that you kind of needed it. Hindsight's 2020, but I think you needed that at the time. And again, as you said, you're missing so many guys from being out there, even in OT. Like Pastrnak scores that, he's not going out and killing that. Killing that. Well, he was in the box, but like if it was someone else, he wasn't killing that penalty. They did blow by the way, on that OT goal that Pastrnak scored. The whistle was blown, but they couldn't hear it. For some reason, everybody kept playing. So I was shocked because you can hear it on the replay. I know ESPN had a rough night with audio, but like it seems like they blew the whistle around when Pastrnak gained possession. So
I think they let him skate a little bit because he got to the far blue line before they blew the whistle. Now I don't remember exactly where he caught the puck, but he made a couple strides before they blew the whistle. But I could hear it in the back, and I was like, oh, I wonder why they're not stopping. But clearly Pastrnak didn't hear the whistle.
Some interesting comments from Sturm. Sturm on officiating. This is a courtesy of Ty Anderson, who's down there. We all have good days. We all have bad days. I know some of them were not in our favor. We have to do a better job, and they probably have to do a better job too. And then the other thing was Sturm on the Lightning. They were better than us after the whistle. They are not tougher than us. that second quote's interesting because I don't think they're tougher. I agree with Sturm on this, but they were better. The Panthers are notoriously good at this. At getting under your skin and making you take a penalty. You saw that with Kastelik. That was an obvious one. And I think they were, they got their shots in and got out of there. And it was a lot of guys like Gensel or Bjorkstrand or Hagel who don't have those sort of reputations like a Janot has or a Kastelik. So I do agree with Sturm on that. But you got to work on it. Like, you can't let that continue.
But I don't understand. They're not tougher than us. Like, okay. Like, is that what the point of the game is?
I know.
Like,
well, for this
all right. You gave an extremely skilled team 7 power plays, and they killed you.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
So great. They're not tougher. They're not tougher than you. They were better than you. I don't cool.
Let's put Nikita Kucherov in the one-timer spot on a power play 7 times. I'm sure that'll work out.
If they're better than, and so I assume he means like better than you after the whistle means like they're smarter about what, like getting under your skin, getting you to react. Is that what he's saying? Because then if you know that, then you say like, hey, you got to stay out of the scrums. They're good after the whistle. They'll bump you and react, and then you'll be going to the penalty box. Like okay, that's got to be a coaching. That's got to be a coaching point. Because like again, you average 4.5 penalties a game. The last team outside of the Avalanche that I want to put on the power play is Nikita Kucherov, who's like 140 to 160 points a year. Like, no, I don't want to see him on his 1T side, like deception and all. Like I've never seen a guy that has better deception than that guy. But they're not tough enough. I'll put them on the power play.
I was shocked when he didn't score on that overtime breakaway. I thought this is how it's going to end. And Swayman made a great save.
Swayman was good.
Full props. Yeah. I mean, outside of that power play there in the second, I thought Swayman was completely fine. Kucherov has the game tying goal in the third on a missile. Like another goal was 11 seconds in, which I give the Bruins. Like, one of my things was when they were up a ton, I was like, all right, one of my main takeaways is like, you give up a goal 11 seconds into a national game on the road in a football stadium and respond with 3 by the end of the first, and you're up 5-1 and you're rolling. Like, I'm like, I'm coming on. Like, are they cup contenders? Are they potentially cup contenders? That was my thought. And obviously not the case. I do want.
Yeah, no. So I would have come on with the way they were playing. You're super excited about who they are and what their identity is. Yeah, they played tough, but they played fast. Forecheck was great. Like, they were moving, and you're thinking like, all right, you're a definitive playoff team, and like you can get in there, and if you are, like, you maybe get on a run. Like, I don't know if you're good enough to win it, but you felt really good about who they were, and then like who they are is who they are. They take a ton of penalties.
Yeah. I do want to get into your thoughts, bigger picture. Some good stuff too. I know a lot of people are trickling in, so we've been discussing the penalties obviously for the last 30 minutes. I want to, in the next 20, discuss your thoughts, big picture, what you think of this team. Someone asked me on Twitter about what you think of like Dean Letourneau, so we'll touch on that a little bit.
Okay.
But first, our friends, everybody loves this, over at Omaha Steaks. Look at that burger. Starting the year strong is easier and more delicious with premium portion proteins from Omaha Steaks. Stay satisfied, get energy, and fuel your routine with premium prepackaged protein delivered to your door from Omaha Steaks. Great to give as a gift, great to get for yourself. And right now you can taste the difference and get an extra $35 off at omahasteaks.com with promo code Patriots at checkout. Literally, Omaha Steaks has been America's original butcher since 1917, a family-owned company with 100 years of expertise in the meat industry. They also carry mouth-watering burgers, chicken, pork, seafood, dessert, and easy-to-prepare comfort food. Let Omaha Steaks deliver high-quality proteins right to your door. Visit omahasteaks.com and get an extra $35 off with promo code Patriots at checkout. That's OMAHA steaks.com. Promo code Patriots. Terms apply. See site for details. We've just been letting this run. Like, that clip of all the burgers and steaks, we just let it go. Like, even when we're talking anything, Just that can be the highlight. We could, be sitting here talking about does Omaha Steaks know about this? Yes, they do. Fortunately, they do. They would not be getting this if they did not know about this. If it makes sense, TB. This team in general, it's, as you said, they've overachieved, they've overperformed. Through a half a game tonight, it was like, holy crap, they're doing this to the number one team in the East.
Yep.
Where are you at with them? Whether it's the what's it called? The trade deadline, what you think of them for the playoffs. Where are you at with them right now?
I think the schedule scares me. You got 16 games on the road in your last 25. And if you continue to take penalties, that's a tough way to play road hockey. I'd like to believe, because they really have overachieved, and that is a huge credit to Marco Sturm, right? Like your talent is nowhere near what you were in 22-23, right? And I want to believe that they're a playoff team. They do play hard. They do seem to play hard for Marco Sturm. They are tough to play against. That is a team that traditionally will do well in the playoffs. And you're starting to build depth in large part because you have some injuries, right? Like I assume we'll talk about, like, Poitras was good tonight. Like, and if you get that out of your fourth line role, like he was playing with what? He played with Jeannot and Kastelek. Yeah, so that's your third line. They were good tonight. So I'm going to say they're a playoff team, and they have the ability to make some waves because they play tough. If they really can eliminate the amount of penalties they take, then yeah, they are hard to play against, and they do have a little bit of what Florida has, except they don't have that high end. They don't have Reinhart and Kachuk. Like, who are those outside of Pastrnak? You don't have that.
I like this comment by Sean. Should have put Sturm out there for OT. It's true. Sturm's record in outdoor games in OT is
Philadelphia, right?
A good one, yeah.
Yeah.
They're a playoff team. They're a playoff team. Like, I've come around on this in the last 2 weeks. I mean, they are first in the wild card right now, 68 points. Buffalo's 67. Columbus is, God, I'm not great at math, but that's 7 points behind them. Washington's 7 points behind them for the wild card. Florida is 9 points behind them. Ottawa, same boat. Toronto, same boat. The East has been all clumped up this year, but it's starting to separate. And the Bruins are like right on the cusp, but they're in there. They are in. So they're a playoff team. It's just how much, we've had this discussion for weeks, how much you still want to invest in this team or make deals or how you want to improve them. That's sort of the next thing. That's where, like, if I'm not going for rentals, I'm definitely not going for rentals. If there's a long-term piece, I think the real question, we tackled this on Friday on Bruins Beat, like, do you still deal in Arvidsson, or do you say, you know what, we're going to hold on to him and see what happens down the stretch and into the playoffs? And if there's a cheap extension that can come, or if you lose him, you lose him. Like, I think you're at that stage though, where it's like, do you sell off pieces off this roster, or do you just stand pat?
Yeah. I mean, I certainly don't want to get rid of any. I know people, like, it's not a Stanley Cup contending team. I don't think, right? Like, you don't have enough high end talent to go out there and be able to outscore someone. Like, if you were to play Tampa Bay in a 7-game series, do you feel confident that you come away with a victory? Probably not, right?
I completely agree.
So you'd have to give up multiple first round picks to get what they need, which is, another scorer. So no, I'm holding on to Arvidsson because that's a secondary scoring that you're going to need through this 25-game stretch. Like, he'll get hot again because he's kind of streaky. And what else could you use? Like, I mean, a second line. I don't know what you'd have to trade in order to get a second line player here. Or do you just ride Fraser Minton, who's been playing unbelievable this month, rookie of the month with his 14 points, and say he's going to get better, and you roll 1 through 4 and say, hey, Poitras is going to get better, and we'll get Lindholm and Zacha back, and good for us. That's what I would do. I'd probably stand that.
Yes, you stand pat. Like I completely agree with you, Carl. Someone like Rob Thomas pops up, then yeah, you do what you can and you work within your means, no question. But like I agree with a lot of these comments. Like keep what they have, let's have fun and go from there. It's a
Yeah.
bridge year. It's a bridge year. This is all gravy. We were not expecting to sit here in February with a team in Boston that it looks like a playoff team. We were not expecting that. And they are still not really in their next cup window. They're before it. You roll with this. Roll with this. Let Fraser Mitten get a ton of reps. Let Jonathan Aspero and those guys get a ton of reps in the playoffs and see what you get. I'm fine with that. You know, if James Hagens, if he signs when the season ends, which I'd assume he does, he comes in, he gets playoff experience. Great. Like that's what you want in a season like this, you know. And I saw some comments saying, you know, they can beat Tampa. They're not likely to. They can. I mean, like anything can happen. Look at Florida in 2023. I'm sorry for bringing that up.
I was just going to say that. Yep.
Yeah, or St. Louis in 2019. I'm sorry again.
Oh,
We're gonna have a lot of people just getting right out of here. But
that one still hurts.
You know, but on the right side, Sean is right. Toronto giving the Bruins that spicy, yummy first round pick that's might actually be top 10, not quite top 5. That might be the best part of your season. So
can we switch that to 2027 Carter Meyer? No,
that's right. That's right. Go get Carter Meyer. And that will be in the top 5. So you can get it looks like the Bruins likely, I hope I'm not jinxing it, are not going to be a bottom 5 team next year. So you're not going to get Carter Meyer from Winchester, Massachusetts.
Yep.
Which is unfortunate. And Carl and I have seen him play many times.
Too many times.
for you, yes. Too many times. But they're in a good spot. Matt Patra.
Yep.
I'm watching him tonight, Carl, and I'm like, that's an NHL player. He does NHL things. He's physical. He's skilled. His vision, he's producing offense with guys like Kastelik and Jeannot. I continue to like him. I don't watch a ton of Providence Bruins. I'm sorry, so I can't speak to that. But when he's up here, he plays well. I'm fine with them using him.
Yeah, I haven't seen him play a lot this year. Obviously, I think the game that he produced tonight, everything that you would want. I think really good stick, good angles, able to separate man from puck, and the backhand goal is. I mean, that's pretty special. And if he's able to give you that on a consistent basis, I think that's probably been his biggest issue is the ability to replicate that game all the time because he's not the best skater. Right. So he's got to come prepared to play that game. If he can do that, then you're in a really good spot on that third line.
Yeah. And with Zacha out, with Lindholm out, if those guys are, however long they're out for, you get some runway here with guys like Houston Dinoff getting a chance at being a top line center, who's been a revelation this year.
He played a ton tonight. It seemed like that. I did not see him killing penalties, but they had him out there a ton.
They did. And you have Patra, you have Mitten getting opportunities. This is an interesting question from Lil Chips 999. I love the YouTube names. What's Patra's ceiling? You're good at this. You're very good at this. What do you see Patra as?
I think if you're a really good team and he's your third line center or winger, I think that's truly what his ceiling is. I think if he was a top 6 guy, he'd have been up here earlier getting those reps. And you see that the way that they've used him probably in Providence was that secondary role, second power play type of thing, just based on the numbers. So I think ceiling probably is that third line.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Yeah, and that's probably if you're looking for points, you're 30, and then at the high end, low 40s, something like that. If he has a great year.
Yeah, Kobe says, just tell me about Prize Picks so I can go to bed. I already did. So Kobe, you gotta go to bed now. I already did Prize Picks. I already did that. I agree with you, and I think what's interesting is we've talked about him a little bit. Fraser Mitten, how good he's been. He wins Rookie of the Month. He was good again tonight. Goes in the shootout for a shootout attempt. That's why when we logged on, a lot of people were like, "Does Sturm flip a coin for who he chooses to go in the shootout because it's his first time. What's his ceiling? What do you see him as?
Could he be your version of Matty Beniers?
I think that's realistic. Everybody goes to the Bergeron comp. Beniers is a more realistic comp for what Minten is.
Yeah, both good skaters. Like both smart with the puck, both 200-foot players, never really gonna like I don't think jump off the page and get you 70, 80 points, but like in that, low 50, 60 range, like that's probably something that he can do as a second line player for you. But those players are really valuable. And like, I mean, Matty's one of the smartest players I've ever seen play the game and what he's capable of doing. And he's done it at all different levels. Like, I would say that that's what Minten can do.
Yeah. I like his now with Mitten's success. For a long time, we were like, oh, the offensive still need to see more out of that. In the last month, you've seen that. Yeah. So there are a lot of people, myself, I'm not in this camp, but a lot of people are like, maybe he's a 1C. I think he's a good 2C.
Yeah.
I think down the road, Fraser Minten, when he's at his peak, is a very good second line center. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's awesome. He's been great this year. I'm not diminishing it. But to be a true number one center in the NHL, like you do not have a true number one center in the NHL on your roster right now. Like you can survive without it. I don't know if you can go super deep without it, but like Minten to me is a very good second line center in a couple of years, or maybe even sooner.
I don't know if he makes enough plays for his teammates at pace or passes people open to be that true number one center. And like how many true number one centers are in the National Hockey League? Like there aren't many, right? Like what are there? I don't even know. Are there 32 teams in the National Hockey League?
That's right. 32 now with
I don't know that there are 32 first line centers, right? Like the truly elite, like Nathan McKinnon, Connor McDavid's, right? Like Braden Point, like those are first line centers, but there aren't 32 first line centers.
No, there aren't. And you can find ways to survive, but no, I agree. I do want to touch on the prospects real quick, but first, our friends over at Ethos, after watching someone close to me go through loss, I saw how quickly grief can turn into financial stress. That experience changed how I think about protecting my family. Life insurance isn't about expecting the worst, but it's about making sure the people you love are supported no matter what. That's why I recommend life insurance through Ethos. It makes getting life insurance fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. There's no medical exam. You just answer a few simple health questions, and you can get up to $3 million in coverage. Some policies are as low as $30 a month. As of March 2025, Business Insider named Ethos the #1 no medical exam instant life insurance provider. Ethos has 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot with over 3,000 reviews. You can protect your family with life insurance from Ethos now by going to ethos.com/all32. In as little as 10 minutes, you can get your free quote and up to $3 million in coverage at ethos.com/all32. That is ethos.com/all32. Ethos.com/all32. Application times and rates may vary. Yes. Ethos. Yes. Our friends. We have lots of friends, Carl. Ethos, Prize Picks, Omaha Steaks. There's some good comments tonight. I can't put all of them up on screen. But the prospects. I got a tweet before we came on. What do you think of Dean Letourneau and his season? We're getting comments about James Hagens and what he can be. Those two specifically, what have you made of their seasons thus far?
Well, full transparency, I've only watched 3 BC games on TV.
It's okay.
Well, one, you've got to be extremely excited about the progression of Dean Letourneau. Like you're talking about a kid that had 2-3 assists last year. And now he's your leading goal scorer at Boston College and at a point per game in Hockey East. Like that's a big jump from St. Andrews College to going straight into your freshman year at BC. It seems a lot stronger, and that was evident when Colton and I went to a development camp this summer and watched them skate, and then has transferred over into his sophomore season at BC. So right? Like, is he ready for the National Hockey League this year? No, not by any stretch of the imagination. But like, he gets another year under Greg and dominates at BC next year. Like, yeah, you should be really excited about a kid that's 6'6" and skates like that. So yes, that's good. Right, like the big thing coming out of the draft last year at number 7 was that you had a potential number 1 center. James Hagen's playing wing at BC scares me, like worries me, right? Like, not like that he's going to be a National Hockey League player, because he is extremely skilled. There's no doubt about that, right? Like, great player, has been successful internationally at BC. But you wanted a center, you needed a center. And does he play the defensive game well enough to be that 1B center type, right? Like, or even a second line center. So a little, like, really excited about Dean Letourneau, because that is a huge leap. And then, right, like, if you've been moved to wing at times over the course of the year, like, there are times when you are dominant. Like, I think there was like a game that I watched, I don't remember, like, first period hat trick or period hat trick in the first half of a game for BC. Like, he can be that dominant, but he's playing wing.
Do you think he should see some time in Providence?
Yeah, I mean, I think he should. Do you give the 7th overall pick with his pedigree time in Providence? I don't know. Right. And what you talk about, right? Like, the opportunity to potentially get him some NHL playoff experience for what I think is a non Stanley Cup contending team. You might do that and then send him back down to Providence to finish, like, if they have a playoff push. Now, is the question, does he start 26, 27 in Providence? Is that the question? I would do it.
Doubt it.
I would do it, but I
Mhm.
doubt that that happens.
I doubt it too. And Sean, answer your question. Did they play him at wing or center at the World Juniors? He was center. He was their number 1 center. So when he put up good points, like, no problems there. Little Chip says, why do I always hear people telling me Hagens is overhyped? LMAO, I just want to be excited. I don't think he's overhyped. Like, I don't,
No.
that isn't it. It's, is he going to come in next year and be your number 1 center? No,
No.
that's a lot to ask. If you get that, great. I just can't imagine that's what it's going to be. But if he comes in at the end of this year and is contributing in your middle 6, whether it's on the wing, that's the other thing. Like, they are kind of set down the middle. Not right now. You're without Zaka and Lindholm, but it was working for the last month with those two as your top 2 centers. Do you move one of those guys to the wing? Like, I don't know. I don't know where the spot for him is. Obviously, he's not playing on the 4th line. Is he on the wing somewhere? I think that's the question with him. And then No Soup for You asks, how many years are we away from seeing Zellers? I'd say, like, he probably needs to do another year at North Dakota and continue at this rate. And then he'd come in after his sophomore year. Letourneau would do another year next year, at least. And if he has a great year and he tears it up, then he comes, into Providence. But I would say those are the timelines for those guys.
Yeah, that's asking a lot of young kids, right? Like, I think that's the one spot I could see Hagens as your 3rd line center. I think someone said staple him to Kastelik's side, right? Like,
well, that's why they went out and got guys like Jeannot. Like, that's why they did that. It's to protect a kid like him.
Yeah, but you could put him there as what I mean at that. Right, I think that was your 3rd line tonight. You could put him with Jeannot and Kastelik and let him figure out the game with some larger wingers and take the offensive pressure off him. He doesn't need to be your number 1. That's just, yeah, it's a lot to ask of Zellers, Letourneau, and Hagens to carry it for you, right? Like, that'd be tough.
Yeah. Before we go, for those who were commenting about penalties, we did like 30 minutes on it at the beginning, and it's Sunday night. Carl's got a big game tomorrow, St. Mark's versus Dexter. I will be there, 5:30 at St. Mark's. So if anyone's in the area and wants to see a high-level hockey game with NHL draft prospects and college hockey players, I would I would check it out. It's gonna be a good game during the
It's
Bean
free.
Pot.
It's free too.
It's free.
It
It's
is
also
free.
free. What'd you think of the game? What'd you think of the presentation? Tampa, the jerseys. Like, what did you think?
Can I be honest? I was confused by John Cooper's outfit.
Please be honest. That's all we ask on this, actually.
I didn't like what were like the theme was like Tampa Bay Buccaneer type thing, right?
Yep.
But that was like, was that Chicago? Like, I don't know what that was. Like those outfits. Like I felt
Old
like I
outfit for
was.
behind a bench. It looked bad when they're down 5-1 and he's there with like the hat. I'm like, oh, this is not the best look.
Yeah, I think anything that like shows the personalities of NHL hockey players is great. A little bit with the Patriot outfits. I love the Buccaneer, the Tampa Bay Lightning coming off the bus and the football outfits. I thought that was great. Like, I think sometimes we can be pretty dry, right? Like you see some of the interviews and you're like, and so any opportunity to put personality into our game, it's great to highlight how good a sport it is. So I appreciate it.
I'm with you. Like I'm for and I like the Winter Classic was a flop. Miami Marlins Park is a joke. Like it didn't work. Whatever. But I am for going down to Florida and having these games. I am for doing things that are out of the ordinary. And that's what this was. It was fun. It was like a pirate themed game. They had treasure maps all over the side of the rink. They had weird jerseys. And at first I didn't love the yellow, how it looked on TV, but it grew on me as the game went along. The white gloves with the white, I didn't love that. But
love Swing's pads though.
Those was a lot of yellow. Like it grew on me as the game went along. I'm for doing some wild stuff. Like I would say, obviously like you have the outdoor game at Penn State this weekend. I think having an NHL game there would be great. Battle of Pennsylvania with Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. But I want them to go back to like Tahoe. I want them to do those things. And I get that they don't because they can't have fans. And that was a COVID type thing. But I don't know, man. Like go to cool sites. And if there's 2,000 people in the stadium or in the fake seats that you put together, if there's 0 people, if you somehow build enough for 10,000, whatever, it's a spectacle on TV. If you did it at like Rushmore or Yosemite, like, I don't know, there's gotta be ways that you can do it. And I know I'm thinking big here, but I don't know. Two cool places.
Yeah. Mystery Alaska.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go to Alaska.
Get a pond or a lake up there.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
Sean says game in the Grand Canyon. I'm all for it. I'm absolutely all for it. Like Mike's good music. 2,000 seats, run some like a lottery. Like there are lakes.
Yeah.
I always want to have it like on a pond. They obviously can't do that.
Winnipesaukee.
Yeah, Lake Winnipesaukee. Do it on Lake Etichuit. Lake Etichuit. Winter Classic.
Loring Arena.
I've always wanted that. There was an AHL game there when I was a kid. Worcester Sharks and someone else. Yeah. I don't remember who the other team was, but I remember going and it was a big deal. I was like, oh my God, that sounds big.
It was a huge tilt this morning. 8UA hockey, Framingham Natick.
That is as big as it gets after the varsity teams played last night.
Yeah, big overtime winner for Colin Walsh for Framingham. Thank you very much. Great coach, Adam Aguilar. But no, 8U hockey, big 9-4 victory for Framingham. It was physical too.
Plant the flag. I'm all for it. But yeah, do some games in cool spots. And go to Florida, go to California, go to Texas, but do it in some scenic spots too. I think I'd love that a lot. Someone asked earlier where the game is tomorrow. St. Mark's and Dexter.
St. Mark's, Southborough, Massachusetts, School Street.
At St. Mark's. So everybody show up.
Yep, Gardner Ice Arena, School Street.
Show up.
It's got to be like, they're good. Dexter's legit.
Yeah. For those who don't follow prep, Dexter, I have a number 1. I have you guys right there, right near him. So
there's as good as it gets. So should be fun.
Should be a good game. Carl, this was fun.
It's always fun. It's always fun with you, Evan. thank you to everyone for their interaction. It seems like you had a lot of fun there.
Yeah. And you know what? I think this game, it's obviously a loss for the Bruins, but exciting, entertaining. You get a point. I think down the road, we'll laugh at this at the blown lead, but, you know, it's a cool spectacle. So I give him that. That's Bruins Beat. That's Carl Corazzini. I'm Evan Marinofsky. You Bruins Beat listeners have a great rest of your day and obviously a great rest of your night.